Alex Lawson, Executive Director of Social Security Works. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. So let's get right into it. Alex Lawson, will Social Security run out of money?
This is one of the most pernicious myths that's pushed by Wall Street. And I think you've seen it. There's headlines, Social Security going bankrupt. And so it makes sense that a lot of people believe this untrue thing. But let me tell you what is true. Social Security is our money. We pay into it during our working lives, and then is there for us when we need it. When we retire, if we face a life-changing illness or injury and become disabled, or for the surviving minor children in the death of a breadwinner. Uh, as long as there are workers paying into Social Security cannot run out of money. You see, that's the truth. Social Security cannot go bankrupt. And that's not me saying it. You can go and check the chief actuary of Social Security and see that that's the truth.
Wh-
The problem is that billionaires and the ultra wealthy don't pay the same rate on all of their income that the rest of us do. Everyone only pays in on the first $185,000 of wages. So for most people, that's all year long. That's 100%. They pay in on all of their wages. But for someone like Elon Musk, he might finish paying in on the first second of the first day of each year. So the problem isn't that Social Security is going to go bankrupt. The problem is that billionaires are destroying the system by not paying in and pushing these lies that it's not going to be there for you. All we need to do is get the ultra wealthy to pay the same rate into Social Security that all the rest of us do, and Social Security will be solvent into the next century. And in fact, we can expand benefits.
Well, I'm one of those baby boomers that might take Social Security this year. And then when I talk to young people, I tell them the politicians, want to take some of my Social Security away and probably all of your Social Security away, but they believe 40, 30s, 20s, they think it's not going to be there. How do you change that narrative and get to younger people where they're 40 and under and say, they can eliminate the income gap cap, they can fund this thing. And oh, how can it be funded forever?
Right. And it's just by making the ultra wealthy pay their fair share, it's funded forever. But Mark, here's the answer to that question. When you were 40 and when you were 30, did you also hear about Social Security not going to be there for you? Did you not also believe at that point that it wasn't going to be there for you?
Yeah, well,
Right?
I
That's
heard
what
about
I
Ronald Reagan extended the, age of Social Security, the max or whatever, but I would like I said, I'm so young, like, Ronald Reagan and Social Security, that's a long time away, and now I'm here.
Exactly. That's my point, is when you're younger, it seems so far away and you're like, I don't think it's going to be there for me. And that's the moment that the billionaires prey on. Okay? So they are always trying to get you to accept that you're going to get zero. They put it out there. You're not getting anything. So then on the other hand, the politicians that they own, and you're convinced you're going to get zero. And the politicians are like, well, what if I just cut your benefits by a whole bunch? And instead of getting zero, you'll get 75 cents on every dollar. And if you've been convinced that Social Security can and will go bankrupt, that sounds like a deal to you. But in fact, they're stealing a quarter from every one of your dollars. So the con is to convince you that you will get nothing so that you will accept less than you're owed. And the way that we fight against that is by just telling our own stories, and showing people the facts and exposing people. The I think least well understood thing about Social Security is the fact that not everyone pays in on all of their income. When you tell people that, They're like, wait, why don't billionaires pay in on all of their income? Obviously, they should. A minimum wage worker does. So you're telling me a minimum wage worker can pay in on all of their income? But Jeff Bezos is going to be in a bad way if he pays in on all of his? The American people don't buy that. So by telling the truth, like we're doing here right now, and getting it out there, that's how we begin to change people's understanding of Social Security and see that this is just an attack by Wall Street and the billionaires to destroy Social Security, which they've been doing since Social Security was created.
I just want to first thank you for being my guest. I want you to end the podcast by just once again telling, especially younger people, older people, we can have Social Security forever. How do we get involved? How do we do this? How do we just make the politicians do what needs to be done? I'm talking about both sides, politicians, both sides.
And we're getting there. It is always going to be a fight. The key is to remember what we built, why we built it, and why now is the time to expand. Social Security was not born out of good times. Wall Street had driven the world economy to its knees in the largest economic collapse in human history, the Great Depression. You had unemployment rates that people didn't believe could happen. The entire American enterprise was under question, right? That was Wall Street who did it. And in response, many things were done. They created the minimum wage. They created the right to collectively bargain and form a union. They created Social Security. But all of these New Deal programs have one goal in mind: giving power to working people and limiting the ability of the billionaires to take all of the money in the economy. And it worked. It worked so well right up until 1980, when Reagan comes into office, and then we see a great reversal. And you can Google this to see it, but productivity of workers continued to go up and up and up. That's the fruit of our labor. But the share of that went to working people stayed flat. So wages stayed the same. And that meant that the billionaires made more and more and more money while working people made the same. One consequence of that is the money the billionaires made is above that Social Security cap. So that has put in danger the whole system. And now what we have to do is simple. You ask, you tell the ultra wealthy that it's their time to pay the same rate into the system that all of the rest of us do. And then Social Security is there, solvent, forever, and we can expand benefits. And the good news is, and this is what you'll never hear from the media, the Democrats have proposals to do that. There's proposals coming very soon that'll be the House Democratic caucus-wide proposal. In the Senate, you have multiple proposals. Senator Warren and Senator Sanders have a proposal that has billionaires pay in on all of their income. It makes the program solvent forever, and everyone's benefits go up $100 a month. I'm sorry, $200 a month. And so that is the simple solution. And so what people have to do is call their elected representatives, their two House members and their senators, and say, we need to scrap the cap, get the ultra wealthy to pay the same rate into Social Security that we do, and then expand benefits for everybody, and no, not one single penny of benefit cuts, because the working people aren't the problem with Social Security. Social Security is not the problem. Social Security is part of the solution. The billionaires are the problem. And so that's where we have to go for the solution. You can go to socialsecurityworks.org. You can find us on all of the social media, Social Security Works. On Blue Sky, I'm at ALaw202. And really, the fight is right now because the Trump administration and his Doge people have really been destroying Social Security from the inside, and we need your voice to fight back. But when we do, we always win. And even though right now it feels so far away, remember that in great adversity, solidarity grows. And as long as we don't forget what we're fighting for, we will always win.
Alex Lawson, thank you.
Thank you.